What if I told you that every limitation you've ever experienced, every goal you've failed to achieve, and every moment of self-doubt you've endured is not a reflection of your true potential, but simply the result of outdated programming in your brain? What if everything you believe about your capabilities, your intelligence, and your capacity for success was installed without your permission, and more importantly, can be completely rewritten? Right now, as you listen to these words, your brain is operating on neural pathways that were carved decades ago, many of them before you even had the awareness to question whether they served you. These pathways control everything: how you respond to challenges, whether you see opportunities or obstacles, your confidence levels, your ability to persist through difficulty, and ultimately your capacity to achieve the success you desire. The shocking truth is that 95% of people will live their entire lives as prisoners of their own neural programming, never realizing that they have the power to completely rewire their brain for success. They will struggle with the same limitations, repeat the same self-sabotaging patterns, and wonder why success seems to come easily to others while remaining frustratingly out of reach for them. But you are not most people. The fact that you're here ready to dive deep into the science of neuroplasticity and brain optimization means you're among the 5% who are willing to take control of their mental architecture and redesign it for unstoppable growth. This audiobook is not about positive thinking, wishful hoping, or surfacely all motivation. This is about the hard science of how your brain works, how it can be changed, and the specific techniques used by neuroscientists, peak performers, and success researchers to literally rewire neural pathways for achievement, confidence, and unlimited growth. By the time you finish this journey, you will understand exactly how to identify and eliminate the neural patterns that have been holding you back. Install new pathways that automatically drive you towards success and create a brain that doesn't just think about achievement but is fundamentally wired for it. The transformation starts now. And once you understand how to control your own neural programming, there will be no limit to what you can achieve. Chapter 1: The Prison of Outdated Programming. Your brain is the most sophisticated computer ever created, capable of processing millions of bits of information per second, storing vast amounts of data and making complex calculations that would overwhelm the most advanced artificial intelligence systems. Yet for most people, this incredible machine is running on software that was installed decades ago, often without their knowledge or consent. From the moment you were born, your brain began recording everything: every word spoken to you, every emotion felt in your presence, every success and failure you witnessed, every limitation you were told existed. By the age of 7, neuroscientists estimate that 95% of your core beliefs about yourself and the world were already programmed into your subconscious mind. Think about this for a moment. The beliefs that currently govern your behavior, your confidence levels, your willingness to take risks, and your expectations of what's possible were largely formed before you had the critical thinking skills to evaluate whether they were true or beneficial. If you grew up hearing that money was hard to come by, your brain installed that as a fundamental truth. If you were told that only certain types of people become successful, that became part of your operating system. If you experienced failure and heard that you weren't good enough, smart enough, or talented enough, those judgments became embedded in your neural architecture. The most insidious part of this process is that these early programs don't announce themselves. They don't say this is just a belief that was installed when you were 5 years old. Instead, they feel like absolute truth. They feel like reality itself. When your programmed brain tells you that you're not capable of achieving something, it doesn't feel like an opinion. It feels like a fact about the world. This is why so many intelligent, capable, hardworking people struggle to break through to the next level of success. It's not because they lack ability, effort, or desire. It's because they're operating with neural software that was designed for a different version of themselves, often a much younger, more vulnerable version that needed protection from disappointment rather than programming for achievement. Consider this: every time you've hesitated before taking action on an opportunity, that hesitation came from a neural pathway. Every time you've doubted your abilities despite evidence of your competence, That doubt originated in your brain's wiring. Every time you felt that success was something that happened to other people, but not to you. That feeling was generated by specific patterns in your neural network. The revolutionary discovery of neuroplasticity has shown us that none of this programming is permanent. Your brain remains malleable throughout your entire life, capable of forming new neural pathways and reorganizing existing ones. The same brain that learned to doubt can learn to believe. The same neural networks that generated fear can be rewired to generate confidence. The same mental patterns that created limitation can be transformed to create unlimited potential. But here's what most people don't understand. Your brain won't rewire itself automatically. It won't suddenly decide that it's time to upgrade your mental software. The outdated programming will continue running indefinitely unless you consciously choose to interrupt it and install something better. This is where most people get stuck. They recognize that they want to change. They may even understand that their current thinking patterns aren't serving them, but they don't know how to actually rewire their brain. They try affirmations, positive thinking, or willpower. And when these surface-level approaches fail to create lasting change, they conclude that transformation isn't possible for them. Risk. The truth is that rewiring your brain requires specific techniques, consistent application, and an understanding of how neural pathways are actually formed and strengthened. It's not about thinking positive thoughts. It's about creating new neural highways through deliberate practice, repetition, and strategic conditioning. When you master the science of neuroplasticity and apply it systematically to your own mental programming, something extraordinary happens. The beliefs that once limited you begin to fade. The confidence that once seemed impossible starts to feel natural. The success that once appeared to be reserved for others becomes your new normal. But first must understand exactly how your current programming was installed and why it has such a powerful hold over your behavior. Only then can you begin the process of conscious reprogramming that will transform your brain into a success-generating machine. Chapter 2. How your brain creates your reality. Most people believe that they see the world as it actually is. Their perceptions are accurate, reflections of objective reality. This is one of the most profound misconceptions about human consciousness. The truth is that your brain doesn't show you reality. It shows you an interpretation of reality that has been filtered, edited, and constructed based on your existing neural programming. Every second, your brain is bombarded with approximately 11 million bits of sensory information. Your conscious mind, however, can only process about 40 bits per second. This means that 99.999% of available information is filtered out before it ever reaches your conscious awareness. The question that determines your entire life experience is this: what criteria does your brain use to decide what information gets through and what gets ignored? The answer lies in a network of neurons called the reticular activating system, or RAS. This neurological filter acts as the gatekeeper of your consciousness, determining what you notice and what remains invisible to you. And here's the crucial point. Your RAS is programmed by your beliefs, expectations, and past experiences. If your brain has been programmed to believe that opportunities are scarce, your RAS will filter out evidence of abundance and highlight every piece of information that confirms scarcity. If you've been conditioned to expect failure, your attention will be drawn to risks and obstacles, while potential paths to success remain unseen. If your neural programming tells you that you're not the type of person who achieves great things, your RAS will literally blind you to possibilities that could transform your life. This is why two people can walk through the exact same environment and have completely different experiences. One person might see opportunities everywhere, potential business ventures, networking possibilities, chances for growth and learning. Another person might see only obstacles, competition, and reasons why success is unlikely. They're not looking at different worlds. They're processing the same world through different neural filters. The implications of this are staggering. Your current financial situation, your relationships, your career trajectory, your health, your confidence levels, all of these are not just random outcomes or fixed circumstances. They are the direct result of what your brain has been programmed to notice, expect, and create. Understanding this gives you incredible power. Once you realize that your perception of reality is constructed by your neural programming, you can begin to consciously reprogram your brain to create a different experience of life. Instead of being a passive victim of your conditioning, you can become the active architect of your own mental software. But the ROS is just one part of how your brain creates your reality. Your neural networks also generate what neuroscientists call predictive processing. Your brain is constantly making predictions about what will happen next. And these predictions heavily influence what you actually experience. If your brain predicts that you'll be rejected, you'll unconsciously behave in ways that increase the likelihood of rejection. If it predicts that you'll fail, you'll notice evidence that supports that prediction while missing information that suggests success is possible. If it predicts that you're not capable of achieving something, it will generate thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that align with that prediction. This is not conscious self-sabotage. This is your brain trying to create consistency between its predictions and your actual experience. From your brain's perspective, being right about a negative prediction is safer than being wrong about a positive one. It would rather keep you small and safe than risk the unknown territory of growth and success. Your emotional responses are also generated by your neural programming. When you feel anxious about taking risks, that anxiety isn't necessarily a reflection of actual danger. It's your brain's programmed response to uncertainty. When you feel unworthy of success, that feeling isn't based on objective truth. It's the result of neural pathways that were carved by past experiences or inherited beliefs. Even your sense of identity is constructed by your brain's programming. The person you believe yourself to be, your strengths, weaknesses, capabilities, and limitations is not a fixed reality, but a neural construct that can be modified. The stories you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of are running on mental software that you can upgrade. This understanding is simultaneously humbling and empowering. It's humbling because it reveals how much of what you've considered to be absolute truth about yourself and the world is actually just programming. It's empowering because it means that any limitation you've accepted as permanent is actually changeable. The brain's neuroplasticity ensures that new neural pathways can be created at any age while old unused pathways gradually weaken. This means you can literally rewire your brain to create a new reality. You can program your ROS to notice opportunities instead of obstacles. You can train your predictive processing to expect success instead of failure. You can condition your emotional responses to generate confidence instead of fear. But this transformation doesn't happen through wishful thinking or positive affirmations alone. It requires a systematic approach to neural reprogramming that works with your brain's natural learning mechanisms rather than against them. Chapter 3: The Science of Neuroplasticity. For most of human history, scientists believed that the adult brain was essentially fixed, that neural development was complete by early adulthood, and that significant change in mental capabilities or personality was impossible. This belief shaped everything from educational approaches to psychological treatments, and it condemned millions of people to accept limitations as permanent realities. The discovery of neuroplasticity has revolutionized our understanding of human potential. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself physically and functionally throughout your entire life. It can form new neural connections, strengthen existing ones, and even generate new neurons in certain regions. This means that your brain is not a static computer running fixed software. It's a dynamic, adaptable system that continuously rewrites itself based on your experiences, thoughts, and behaviors. Dr. Norman Deutsch, a leading researcher in neuroplasticity, has documented cases of people completely transforming their mental capabilities through targeted neural training. Stroke patients who lost the ability to speak have rewired their brains to communicate fluently again. People born with learning disabilities have developed exceptional abilities in areas where they were once considered hopeless. Adults who struggled with confidence and motivation have transformed into high achievers by systematically rewiring their neural patterns. The key insight from neuroplasticity research is that your brain changes every day. Whether you're conscious of it or not, every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every behavior you engage in is either strengthening existing neural pathways or creating new ones. The question is not whether your brain is changing. It's whether you're directing that change toward your goals or allowing it to happen randomly. Neuroscientists have identified several key principles that govern how neural rewiring occurs. Repetition is the fundamental driver of neuroplasticity. When you repeat a thought, emotion, or behavior, you strengthen the neural pathway associated with it. This is why habits become automatic and why practice skills become effortless. But it also means that repeated negative thoughts, chronic worry or consistent self-doubt literally carve deeper grooves in your brain, making these patterns more likely to occur in the future. Attention and focus amplify neuroplastic change. When you pay deliberate attention to something, you increase the likelihood that your brain will form strong neural connections related to it. This is why mindful practice is more effective than mindless repetition. When you consciously focus on developing confidence, for example, you accelerate the formation of neural pathways associated with confident thoughts and behaviors. Emotional intensity accelerates neural rewiring. Experiences that generate strong emotions create stronger neural imprints than neutral experiences. This is why traumatic events can have lasting impacts. But it also means that you can leverage positive emotions to accelerate beneficial changes in your brain. When you combine new thoughts or behaviors with feelings of excitement, gratitude, or accomplishment, you strengthen the neural pathways much more rapidly. Challenge and novelty stimulate neuroplastic growth. Your brain creates new neural connections most readily when it encounters new challenges or unfamiliar situations. This is why stepping outside your comfort zone is so crucial for personal growth. It literally forces your brain to build new neural pathways to handle the novel circumstances. Rest and consolidation are essential for neural rewiring, while active practice initiates neuroplastic changes. Sleep and relaxation periods are when your brain consolidates these new patterns and integrates them into your existing neural network. This is why consistent sleep and recovery are crucial for sustainable transformation. The implications of these principles are profound. They mean that you can literally sculpt your brain to generate the thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that lead to success. You can weaken neural pathways associated with self-doubt, fear, and limitation while strengthening pathways connected to confidence, resilience, and achievement. But neuroplasticity also reveals why change is often difficult and why most people's attempts at transformation fail. If you've been thinking, feeling, and behaving in certain ways for years or decades, those neural pathways have become superhighways in your brain. Changing them requires consistent effort over time, not just temporary motivation or sporadic attempts at improvement. The good news is that your brain is designed to change. Every time you choose a different thought, generate a new emotion, or engage in a novel behavior, you're literally rewiring your neural architecture. The process is not always comfortable. Breaking old neural patterns can feel strange, difficult, or even frightening, but it is always possible. Modern neuroscience has also revealed specific techniques that can accelerate neuroplastic change. Visualization activates the same neural networks as actual experience, allowing you to practice new patterns mentally before implementing them behaviorally. Meditation increases neuroplasticity and strengthens areas of the brain associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. Physical exercise promotes the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that supports the growth of new neural connections. Perhaps most importantly, neuroplasticity research has shown that belief itself affects neural change. When you truly believe that transformation is possible, your brain becomes more receptive to rewiring. Conversely, if you doubt your ability to change, you actually impede the neuroplastic process. This means that the journey of rewiring your brain for success begins with understanding and internalizing the scientific fact that your brain can change. You are not stuck with the mental patterns you currently have. You are not limited by your past programming. You have the power to consciously direct your brain's natural plasticity toward creating the mental architecture of success. Chapter 4. Identifying your current neural programming. Before you can rewire your brain for success, you must first understand the specific programming that's currently running in your mental operating system. Most people are completely unconscious of their neural patterns operating on autopilot according to programs they've never examined or questioned. This lack of awareness is precisely what keeps them trapped in cycles of limitation and unfulfilled potential. Your current neural programming reveals itself through 4 primary channels: your automatic thoughts, your emotional patterns, your behavioral tendencies, and your results. Each of these provides crucial information about the underlying beliefs and neural pathways that are shaping your experience of life. Your automatic thoughts are the mental commentary that runs continuously in the background of your consciousness. These are not the thoughts you deliberately choose to think, but rather the spontaneous mental reactions that arise in response to situations, challenges, and opportunities. Pay attention to what your mind automatically says when you encounter a potential opportunity. Does it immediately start listing reasons why it won't work, why you're not qualified, or why it's too risky? Or does it begin exploring possibilities and developing strategies for success? Notice the language patterns in your automatic thinking. Do you frequently use words like can't, impossible, never, or always when describing your capabilities or circumstances? Do you catch yourself thinking thoughts like, I'm not good at this, that's too hard for me, or I don't have what it takes? These linguistic patterns reveal deep neural programming that may be sabotaging your success before you even take action. Your emotional patterns provide another window into your neural programming. How do you typically feel when faced with challenges, opportunities, or uncertainty? Do you feel excited and energized or anxious and overwhelmed? Do you approach new situations with confidence and curiosity or with fear and doubt? Your emotional responses are generated by neural pathways that have been carved by past experiences and conditioned over time. Pay particular attention to your emotional responses to success-related situations. How do you feel when you imagine achieving your biggest goals? You notice feelings of unworthiness, fear, or skepticism. These emotions are revealing neural programming that may be blocking your progress. Many people are surprised to discover that they have unconscious resistance to the very success they consciously desire. Your behavioral patterns are perhaps the most accurate reflection of your underlying neural programming. Despite what you might consciously believe about yourself, your habitual behaviors reveal what your brain has actually been programmed to do. Do you consistently take action on opportunities, or do you tend to hesitate and procrastinate? Do you persist through challenges, or do you give up when things become difficult? Do you invest in your growth and development, or do you avoid situations that might stretch your capabilities? Look particularly at your patterns around money, relationships, health, and career advancement. These areas often reveal the deepest programming because they involve fundamental beliefs about what you deserve, what's possible for you, and what kind of person you are. Your results, your current financial situation, the quality of your relationships, your health, your career trajectory are the ultimate output of your neural programming. While external circumstances certainly play a role, your consistent results over time reveal the patterns that your brain has been programmed to create. If you consistently struggle in certain areas despite conscious effort and good intentions, there's likely unconscious programming working against your desired outcomes. One of the most revealing exercises you can do is to examine the gap between your conscious goals and your actual results where you see consistent gaps. You can be certain that there's unconscious programming that needs to be identified and rewired to make this process more systematic. Spend time over the next week documenting your automatic thoughts, emotional responses, and behavioral choices in key situations. When you encounter an opportunity, notice what your mind immediately tells you about it. When you face a challenge, observe your emotional state and your behavioral response. When you think about your biggest goals, pay attention to what thoughts and feelings arise. Many people are shocked by what they discover during this examination. They realize that despite consciously wanting success, their automatic thoughts are predominantly negative. Despite claiming to believe in their potential, their emotional responses reveal deep-seated doubt. Despite setting ambitious goals, their behaviors consistently pull them away from those objectives. This awareness, while sometimes uncomfortable, is the essential first step in transformation. You cannot change what you're not aware of, and you cannot rewire programming that you haven't identified. The neural patterns that run your life become powerless the moment you bring them into conscious awareness and decide to change them. Some of the most common limiting programs include success requires sacrifice of everything else important. I don't deserve to have more than others. If I succeed, people will expect too much from me. It's selfish to want more. I'm not smart enough, talented enough, worthy enough. Success is for other people, not people like me. And if I try and fail, it will prove I'm inadequate. Once you've identified your specific limiting programs, you can begin the systematic process of rewiring them. But identification alone is not enough. You must understand why these programs developed and what positive intention they may have been serving, even if they're now holding you back. Every piece of neural programming, even limiting beliefs, developed for a reason. Understanding that reason helps you rewire more effectively because you can address the underlying need while changing the programming to serve you better. Chapter 5: Breaking the Patterns That Hold You Back. Identifying your limiting neural programming is crucial, but it's only the first step. Now comes the more challenging work of actually interrupting and breaking the patterns that have been running your life. This process requires understanding how neural patterns maintain themselves and developing specific techniques to disrupt them before they can be replaced with more empowering programming. Neural patterns persist because they operate below the threshold of conscious awareness and they feel familiar, which your brain interprets as safe. Your brain's primary job is to keep you alive. And from a survival perspective, familiar patterns are safer than unknown possibilities. Even if those familiar patterns are limiting your potential, every time you automatically think a limiting thought, feel a disempowering emotion, or engage in self-sabotaging behavior, you're strengthening the neural pathway associated with that pattern. The pattern becomes more entrenched, more automatic, and more resistant to change. This is why simply trying to think positive thoughts or use willpower to overcome limiting patterns rarely works. You're trying to fight established neural superhighways with conscious effort alone. Breaking these patterns requires what neuroscientists call pattern interruption, consciously disrupting the automatic sequence before it can complete itself. The key is to catch the pattern in the moment it's beginning to run and intervene before it gains momentum. The first technique is developing what researchers call metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your own thinking process as it happens. This means learning to step back from your thoughts and emotions and observe them as mental events rather than absolute truths. Instead of being caught up in the thought "I'm not good enough for this opportunity," you learn to recognize "I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough for this opportunity." This subtle shift creates psychological distance between you and your programming, giving you the space needed to choose a different response. When you recognize that limiting thoughts are just mental events generated by old programming rather than accurate assessments of reality, they lose much of their power over you. The second technique is immediate pattern disruption. The moment you catch yourself running a limiting pattern, you interrupt it with a predetermined action. This could be a physical gesture like snapping your fingers, a mental command like stop, or a reframing question like, "What would I think about this if I were already successful?" The specific interruption method matters less than the consistency of applying it. Every time you notice the pattern beginning, physical movement is particularly effective for pattern interruption because it engages different neural networks and can literally shake you out of the mental state associated with a limiting pattern. Some people find that standing up, taking a deep breath, or doing jumping jacks effectively disrupts negative thought spirals. The third technique involves questioning the validity and usefulness of the limiting pattern. When you catch yourself in a limiting thought or emotional pattern, ask yourself, is this thought actually true? What evidence do I have for and against this belief? How is this pattern serving me? What would I accomplish if I didn't have this limitation? What would someone who's already achieved my goals think about this situation? These questions force your brain to examine the pattern from different angles and often reveal that the limiting belief is not based on current reality, but on outdated information or past experiences that are no longer relevant. The fourth technique is developing alternative response patterns. Instead of just trying to stop limiting patterns, you need to have empowering alternatives ready to implement. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, you immediately shift to I'm learning how to do this or I can figure this out. When you notice fear about taking action, you redirect to this feeling means I'm growing or I'm excited about the possibilities. These alternative patterns need to be practiced in advance, so they're readily available when you need them. You can't develop new neural pathways in the heat of the moment. You need to train them during calm periods so they're accessible when challenging situations arise. The fifth technique involves changing your physiology to interrupt emotional patterns. Your thoughts, emotions, and physical state are interconnected through what neuroscientists call embodied cognition. When you change your posture, breathing, or facial expression, you can directly influence your mental and emotional state. Research shows that standing in confident postures for just 2 minutes can increase testosterone levels and decrease cortisol, creating a more confident and assertive mental state. Similarly, controlled breathing techniques can activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reducing anxiety and creating space for more resourceful thinking. The most important principle in breaking limiting patterns is consistency. These patterns have been strengthened through thousands of repetitions over years or decades. Breaking them requires consistent interruption over weeks and months until the new patterns become stronger than the old ones. Many people give up on this process too early because they expect immediate results. They interrupt a limiting pattern a few times and then become discouraged when it keeps recurring. Understanding that pattern breaking is a gradual process of weakening old neural pathways while strengthening new ones helps maintain the persistence necessary for lasting change. It's also crucial to be patient and compassionate with yourself during this process. The fact that old patterns keep showing up doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human and your brain is operating according to its natural tendencies. Every time you successfully interrupt a limiting pattern, you're making progress. Even if the pattern returns later, the goal is not to eliminate all limiting thoughts and emotions. That's neither possible nor necessary. The goal is to reduce their frequency and intensity while developing the ability to choose your response rather than being controlled by automatic programming. Chapter 6: Installing New Success Programming. Once you've begun the process of breaking limiting patterns, you need to actively install new neural programming that supports your success. Your brain abhors a vacuum if you simply remove old programming without replacing it with something better. Your mind will either revert to the familiar patterns or create new problems to fill the space. Installing new success programming requires understanding how your brain learns and forms new neural pathways. Unlike breaking old patterns, which involves weakening existing connections, creating new programming involves building entirely new neural networks from scratch. This process requires repetition, emotional intensity, and strategic conditioning. The first principle of installing new programming is specificity. Vague desires for success or confidence don't provide your brain with clear instructions for what neural pathways to build. Instead, you need to define exactly what thoughts, emotions, and behaviors you want to become automatic. For example, instead of wanting to be more confident, you might specify, when I encounter opportunities, I automatically think about possibilities rather than obstacles. I feel excited and energized rather than anxious. I take action within 24 hours rather than overthinking and procrastinating. This level of specificity gives your brain a clear blueprint for what new programming to install. The second principle is emotional engagement. Your brain prioritizes information that has emotional significance. So, new programming that's connected to strong positive emotions will be learned much faster than purely intellectual concepts. When you practice new thought patterns, you need to generate the emotions that would naturally accompany those thoughts in real-life situations. If you're installing programming for financial success, don't just think thoughts about abundance. Feel the emotions of gratitude, excitement, and satisfaction that would accompany financial freedom. If you're developing confidence programming, embody the feelings of certainty, capability, and self-assurance that confident people experience. The third principle is repetition with variation. While repetition strengthens neural pathways, doing exactly the same thing repeatedly can cause your brain to stop paying attention. Instead, you need to practice your new programming in multiple contexts and with slight variations to ensure it generalizes to real-world situations. Practice your new confidence programming while imagining different scenarios, job interviews, presentations, networking events, difficult conversations. Visualize yourself succeeding in various circumstances, not just one ideal situation. This builds robust neural networks that can function across multiple contexts. The fourth principle is progressive conditioning. You can't install completely new programming overnight because it would be too far from your current neural baseline. Instead, you need to gradually condition your brain to accept increasingly empowering thoughts and beliefs. If your current programming tells you, "I never succeed at anything," you can't immediately jump to "I always succeed at everything" because your brain will reject it as unrealistic. Instead, you might progress through stages. Sometimes I succeed, then I succeed more often than I fail. Then I consistently find ways to succeed. And finally, success is my natural state. Mental rehearsal is one of the most powerful techniques for installing new programming. Your brain doesn't distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual experiences. Both create neural pathways. Olympic athletes have used mental rehearsal for decades. Hand-brain scans show that imagining physical actions activates. It's the same neural networks as actually performing those actions to use mental rehearsal effectively. Create detailed visualizations of yourself thinking, feeling, and behaving according to your new success programming. See yourself encountering challenging situations and responding with confidence and competence. Imagine achieving your goals and experience the emotions of accomplishment and fulfillment. Make these visualizations as vivid and detailed as possible, engaging all your senses. Affirmations can be effective for installing new programming, but only when used correctly. Most people repeat affirmations mechanically without emotional engagement or belief, which makes them ineffective. For affirmations to rewire your brain, they must be stated with conviction, emotional intensity, and aligned with actions. Instead of passively repeating, "I am confident," declare it with the energy and certainty of someone who genuinely believes it. Feel the confidence in your body. Adopt confident posture and immediately take actions that reinforce the affirmation. The combination of mental repetition, emotional engagement, and behavioral alignment creates powerful neural conditioning. Identity-based programming is particularly powerful because it targets your core sense of self rather than just surface-level behaviors. Instead of trying to act confident, you reprogram yourself to be a confident person. Instead of trying to make more money, you become someone who naturally creates wealth. Instead of trying to be successful, you embody the identity of a successful person. This approach works because behavior flows from identity. When you truly see yourself as a successful person, you automatically think and act in ways that successful people think and act. The behaviors become natural expressions of who you are rather than forced attempts to be someone you're not. Environmental conditioning accelerates the installation of new programming. Surround yourself with people, information, and experiences that reinforce your new neural patterns. If you're installing abundance programming, immerse yourself in content about wealth creation. Spend time with financially successful people and put yourself in environments where abundance is the norm. Your environment provides constant input to your subconscious mind, either reinforcing old programming or supporting new patterns. By consciously designing your environment to align with your desired programming, you create consistent conditioning that accelerates neural rewiring. The key to successful programming installation is consistency over intensity. It's better to practice your new patterns for 10 minutes every day than for 2 hours once a week. Your brain learns through consistent repetition and daily practice. Ensures that the new programming becomes stronger than the old patterns. Track your progress by monitoring your automatic thoughts, emotional responses, and spontaneous behaviors. As new programming takes hold, you'll notice that empowering thoughts start arising without effort. Confident emotions become more frequent. Then success-oriented behaviors begin feeling natural rather than forced. Chapter 7. The Neuroscience of Confidence. Confidence is not a personality trait or a fixed characteristic. It's a neural state that can be systematically developed through understanding and applying the neuroscience of self-assurance. When you observe genuinely confident people, you're seeing the external expression of specific neural patterns that generate certainty, self-trust, and the willingness to take action despite uncertainty. Research in neuroscience has revealed that confidence is associated with specific patterns of brain activity. Confident individuals show increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for executive function and decision while showing decreased activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. This neurological signature creates the mental state we recognize as confidence. Clear thinking combined with emotional calm. Understanding the neuroscience of confidence allows you to deliberately create these brain states. Rather than waiting for confidence to magically appear, you can train your brain to generate the neural patterns associated with confidence. Making self-assurance a skill rather than hoping it will be a gift. The first component of neural confidence is self-trust, which is based on your brain's assessment of your past successes and capabilities. Every time you succeed at something, even something small, your brain records that success is evidence of your competence. Conversely, every perceived failure gets recorded as evidence of inadequacy. Over time, your brain develops a success-failure ratio that determines your baseline confidence level. Most people unknowingly sabotage their confidence by focusing disproportionately on their failures while dismissing or minimizing their successes. They remember in vivid detail every mistake, embarrassment, or disappointment while barely acknowledging their accomplishments. This creates a neural database that supports doubt rather than confidence. To rewire your brain for confidence, you need to systematically rebuild this internal database. Start documenting every success, no matter how small. Did you have a good conversation with someone? That's evidence of social competence. Did you complete a challenging task? That's proof of your capability. Did you overcome a fear to take action that demonstrates courage and growth? The key is to emotionally experience these successes rather than just intellectually acknowledging them. When you achieve something, take time to feel the satisfaction, pride, and accomplishment. These positive emotions strengthen the neural pathways associated with success and competence, building a foundation of confidence that becomes increasingly unshakable. The second component is outcome. Independence, the ability to take action without attachment to specific results. Paradoxically, true confidence comes not from guaranteeing success, but from knowing you can handle whatever outcomes arise. When your sense of self-worth and identity depend on achieving particular results, you become hesitant to take risks because failure would threaten your self-concept. Neural confidence is built by training your brain to separate your identity from your outcomes. You can be a valuable, capable person regardless of whether any particular venture succeeds or fails. This doesn't mean you don't care about results. It means your worth isn't contingent on them. Practice this by deliberately engaging in activities where failure is possible and reframing any unsuccessful outcomes as learning experiences rather than reflections of your worth. Every time you take action despite uncertainty and handle whatever results occur with grace, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with confidence. The third component is competence building through deliberate skill development. While confidence shouldn't depend entirely on competence, having actual skills and abilities provides a solid foundation for self-assurance. Your brain recognizes genuine capability and generates confidence accordingly. The most effective approach is to systematically develop skills in areas that matter to your goals. If you want financial success, invest in learning about business, investing, or valuable skills. If you want relationship success, study communication, psychology, and social dynamics. If you want career advancement, develop expertise in your field and leadership abilities. As your competence grows, your brain has genuine evidence to support confidence. This creates an upward spiral where increased skill leads to greater confidence, which leads to more ambitious actions, which leads to further skill development. The fourth component involves training your internal dialogue to support confidence rather than undermine it. The constant commentary running in your mind either reinforces confidence or erodes it. Most people have internal dialogues that would be considered abusive if they came from another person. Yet they accept these destructive thought patterns. As normal confident neural programming requires changing this internal dialogue to one that supports and encourages you. This doesn't mean unrealistic positive thinking. It means fair, balanced, and constructive self-talk. Instead of "I always mess things up," you might think "I've learned from past mistakes and I'm getting better." Instead of "I can't do this," you could think "I can learn how to do this." The fifth component is developing what researchers call confidence triggers, specific physical, mental, or emotional states that automatically activate confident neural patterns. These might include particular postures, breathing patterns, mental phrases, or visualization techniques that consistently generate confident feelings. Athletes often use confidence triggers before competition, specific routines, or mental techniques that activate peak performance states. You can develop similar triggers for challenging situations in your life. The key is to practice these triggers during calm periods so they're readily available when you need them. Physical posture has a direct impact on confidence through what scientists call embodied cognition. Standing tall, making eye contact, speaking clearly, and taking up appropriate space all send signals to your brain that activate confident neural patterns. Conversely, slouching, avoiding eye contact, and making yourself small trigger neural patterns associated with insecurity. Confidence is also contagious through mirror neurons, specialized brain cells that fire both when you perform an action and when you observe others performing the same action. Spending time around genuinely confident people helps train your brain to adopt similar neural patterns. Conversely, surrounding yourself with insecure, negative, or fearful people can undermine your confidence development. The key to developing unshakable confidence is consistency in applying these neuroscience principles. Like any neural rewiring process, building confidence requires persistent practice over time. Every confident thought, emotion, and action you choose strengthens the neural pathways associated with self-assurance. Most importantly, understand that confidence is not about never feeling fear or doubt. It's about taking action despite those feelings. True confidence includes the ability to feel uncertain and act anyway, to face potential failure and move forward regardless, to encounter challenges and trust in your ability to figure things out. Chapter 8 Rewiring for Resilience and Mental Toughness. Mental toughness and resilience are not innate personality traits reserved for a select few. They are neural capabilities that can be systematically developed through specific brain training techniques. When you examine the brains of highly resilient individuals, you find distinct patterns of neural activity that enable them to bounce back from setbacks, maintain focus under pressure, and persist through difficulties that would overwhelm most people. Resilience from a neuroscience perspective is the brain's ability to maintain optimal function under stress while quickly returning to baseline after challenging experiences. This involves specific neural networks working in coordination, the prefrontal cortex maintaining executive control, the anterior cingulate cortex managing attention and emotion regulation, and the hippocampus processing and contextualizing stressful experiences. The first component of neural resilience is stress inoculation. deliberately exposing yourself to manageable levels of challenge and difficulty to strengthen your brain's stress response systems. Just as physical muscles grow stronger when challenged with resistance training, your neural resilience networks become more robust when regularly exercised with appropriate stressors. This doesn't mean seeking unnecessary hardship, but rather systematically putting yourself in situations that stretch your comfort zone and require you to cope with uncertainty, pressure, or difficulty. Each time you successfully navigate a challenging situation, your brain builds evidence of your capability to handle stress, creating neural pathways that support resilience rather than fragility. Professional athletes, musicians, and other peak performers often train sustained attention through what's called deliberate practice, focusing intensely on specific aspects of their craft for extended periods. This not only improves their skills, but also strengthens their neural networks for sustained attention. Practice sustained attention by choosing challenging but achievable tasks that require continuous focus. Reading complex material, learning new skills, or working on creative projects. All provide excellent training for sustained attention. The key is to push beyond your comfort zone while maintaining quality of attention rather than just going through the motions. The third component is divided attention, the ability to manage multiple streams of information simultaneously. While multitasking is generally ineffective for complex tasks, there are situations where you need to monitor multiple inputs while maintaining primary focus on your main objective. This skill is particularly important for leadership where you need to track multiple aspects of projects, teams, and objectives simultaneously. Train divided attention by practicing activities that require monitoring several variables at once while maintaining performance standards in your primary task. The fourth component is executive attention. Your brain's ability to resolve conflicts between different attention demands and maintain focus on long-term goals despite short-term temptations. This is controlled by networks involving the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex. Executive attention is what allows you to maintain focus on important but not urgent tasks when there are more immediately compelling distractions available. It's what enables you to work on long-term projects when there are emails to check, social media to browse, or easier tasks to complete. Strengthen executive attention through deliberate practice choosing long-term rewards over short-term impulses. This might involve working on your most important project before checking email, completing difficult tasks before easier ones, or investing time in learning and development rather than passive entertainment. Meditation is one of the most scientifically validated methods for training attention. Regular meditation practice strengthens the neural networks responsible for attention while reducing activity in the default mode network. The brain circuits responsible for mind wandering and distraction. Even 10 to 15 minutes of daily meditation can produce measurable improvements in attention span, focus quality and resistance to distraction. The key is consistency rather than duration. Daily practice is more effective than occasional long sessions. Physical exercise also plays a crucial role in attention training. Cardiovascular exercise increases the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor BDNF, which supports the growth of new neural connections. It also improves executive function and cognitive flexibility. Environmental design is critical for attention training. Your physical environment should support focus rather than undermine it. This means eliminating visual distractions, reducing noise, optimizing lighting, and organizing your space to minimize decision fatigue. Digital hygiene is essential in the modern world. Most people's attention has been hijacked by devices and applications specifically designed to capture and hold attention. Regaining control requires systematic changes to how you interact with technology. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Batch process emails and messages rather than responding immediately. Use website blockers during focus periods and create phone-free zones for deep work. The goal is to use technology intentionally rather than being used by it. Single tasking is a revolutionary concept in our multitasking world. But neuroscience clearly shows that the brain performs best when focused on one complex task at a time. What people call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, which reduces performance and increases mental fatigue. Commit to single tasking by choosing one important activity and giving it your complete attention until completion or until a predetermined time limit is reached. This might feel slow initially, but you'll accomplish far more with higher quality and less stress. The attention revolution begins with recognizing that your focus is your most valuable resource and that it can be trained systematically. Every moment of sustained focus strengthens your neural networks for attention, while every moment of distraction weakens them in our distracted world. The ability to maintain deep sustained focus has become a superpower that separates high achievers from everyone else. Those who master attention master the ability to direct their consciousness intentionally rather than having it scattered by external forces. Chapter 10. Reprogramming your relationship with failure. Perhaps no aspect of neural programming has a greater impact on your success potential than your relationship with failure. Most people have been conditioned to view failure as something to be avoided at all costs, as evidence of inadequacy or as confirmation that they're not meant for success. This programming creates a brain that is risk-averse, opportunity-blind, and growth-resistant. Neuroscience research reveals that high achievers have fundamentally different neural responses to failure than average performers. When successful, people encounter setbacks. Their brains show increased activity in areas associated with learning, problem solving, and motivation. When people with failure phobia encounter setbacks, their brains activate regions associated with threat detection, self-protection, and withdrawal. The difference lies not in their innate neurology, but in their learned neural programming around failure. This programming can be systematically rewired to transform failure from a source of limitation into a catalyst for accelerated growth and achievement. The first step in reprogramming your failure response is understanding that your current emotional reactions to setbacks are not based on objective reality but on learned associations. If you feel shame, anxiety, or self-doubt when things don't go as planned, these emotions are generated by neural pathways that were carved by past experiences and cultural conditioning. Most people learned their failure programming during childhood when mistakes were often met with criticism, disappointment, or punishment rather than being framed as natural parts of the learning process. This early conditioning creates neural pathways that associate failure with danger, leading to avoidance behaviors that severely limit growth potential. To rewire these patterns, you need to create new associations with failure through direct experience and cognitive reframing. Start by deliberately seeking out situations where failure is possible and practicing new responses when setbacks occur. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, immediately ask, what did I learn? How can I improve? What new possibilities does this open up? The second component involves understanding the neuroscience of learning itself. Your brain learns through a process of prediction, error detection, and pattern adjustment. When your predictions are accurate, your brain maintains existing patterns. When your predictions are wrong, when you experience failure, your brain has the opportunity to update its models and improve future performance. From this perspective, failure is not the opposite of learning. It is learning. Every failure provides your brain with information it needs to refine its strategies and increase the probability of future success. When you reframe failure as essential feedback rather than personal inadequacy, do you activate different neural networks that support growth rather than self-protection? Practice this reframing by keeping a failure. Resume a detailed record of your setbacks and what you learned from each one. Include specific lessons, skills developed, and opportunities that arose from each failure. Over time, this document becomes powerful evidence that failures have been stepping stones rather than roadblocks in your journey. The third component involves developing what researchers call anti-fragility, the ability to become stronger from stressors rather than just surviving them. While resilience helps you bounce back to your previous level after setbacks, anti-fragility enables you to reach higher levels of capability through adversity. This requires programming your brain to automatically look for the benefits and growth opportunities in every challenging situation. When you encounter obstacles, train yourself to immediately ask, how might this make me stronger? What skills will I develop by overcoming this? What opportunities might this create that wouldn't have existed otherwise? The fourth component is speed of recovery. How quickly you can process failure, extract its lessons, and return to productive action. High achievers don't experience fewer failures than others. They simply recover from them faster and more completely. Develop systematic recovery protocols for when things don't go as planned. This might include acknowledging what happened without judgment, identifying specific lessons learned, adjusting your strategy based on new information, recommitting to your goals with renewed focus, and taking immediate action in a new direction. The key is to make this process automatic rather than leaving it to chance emotions or random thoughts. When you have a predetermined system for processing failures, you can move through them quickly rather than getting stuck in unproductive emotional loops. The fifth component involves redefining success to include intelligent failures. Most people define success narrowly as achieving predetermined outcomes, which makes any deviation feel like failure. A more empowering definition includes progress, learning skill development, and strategic positioning even when specific goals aren't achieved. This doesn't mean lowering your standards or accepting mediocrity. It means recognizing that the path to extraordinary success inevitably includes numerous failures, and each failure contributes to your overall trajectory even when it doesn't feel positive in the moment. Develop the habit of celebrating intelligent failures, attempts that didn't achieve their intended outcomes but provided valuable learning, developed important skills, or positioned you for future opportunities. This reinforces neural pathways that support risk-taking and experimentation rather than playing it safe. The sixth component is failure analysis and pattern recognition. Instead of avoiding thinking about failures or dismissing them as bad luck, successful people analyze their setbacks systematically to extract maximum learning value. Create regular failure analysis sessions where you examine recent setbacks objectively. Look for patterns in what led to the failures, what could have been done differently, and what systems or skills need to be developed to prevent similar failures in the future. This transforms failures from random negative events into valuable data for improvement. Environmental programming also affects your failure response. Surround yourself with people who view failure as a normal part of success rather than something to be ashamed of. Read biographies of successful people to normalize the role of failure in achievement. Consume content that reinforces growth-oriented rather than fixed mindsets about setbacks. The ultimate goal is to develop neural programming that makes you anti-fragile, someone who gets stronger, smarter, and more capable through adversity rather than despite it. When you achieve this level of reprogramming, failure loses its power to stop you because it becomes fuel for your growth rather than evidence of your limitations. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every time you choose to reframe failure as feedback, extract lessons from setbacks, and continue moving forward despite difficulties, you strengthen the neural pathways that support extraordinary achievement. Over time, you develop the kind of failure-resilient mindset that separates high achievers from those who remain trapped by their fear of not succeeding. Chapter 11. The Social Brain Rewiring for Influence and Connection. Human beings are fundamentally social creatures, and your brain is wired to constantly evaluate your position within social hierarchies and your connection to others. These social neural networks have profound impacts on your confidence, influence, decision-making abilities, and overall success. Understanding and optimizing your social brain can dramatically enhance your ability to lead, persuade, collaborate, and create the kinds of relationships that accelerate achievement. The social brain consists of several interconnected neural networks that evolved to help humans navigate complex social environments. The mirror neuron system allows you to understand others' actions and emotions by simulating them in your own brain. The theory of mind network enables you to understand what others are thinking and feeling. The social pain network processes rejection and social exclusion with the same neural pathways used for physical pain. These systems work together to create your social reality, influencing everything from your communication style and leadership presence to your ability to build trust and navigate conflicts. Most importantly for success, they determine whether others see you as someone worth following, partnering with, or supporting. The first component of social brain optimization is developing what neuroscientists call social cognitive flexibility, the ability to rapidly read social situations and adjust your behavior appropriately. This involves strengthening connections between your prefrontal cortex and your social processing networks, giving you greater conscious control over your social responses. Most people operate on social autopilot, responding to others based on ingrained patterns and unconscious biases. This limits their effectiveness because they can't adapt their approach to different people and situations. Socially intelligent individuals, however, consciously calibrate their communication style, energy level, and behavioral approach based on real-time social feedback. Practice this by becoming a student of human behavior. In every social interaction, consciously observe the other person's communication style, emotional state, values, and preferences. Then adjust your own approach to create better rapport and more effective communication. This trains your brain to process social information more consciously and respond more strategically. The second component is emotional contagion. Mastery, understanding and controlling how emotions spread between people through unconscious neural mirroring. Your emotional state doesn't just affect you. It influences everyone around you through mirror neuron activation. When you feel confident, others unconsciously begin to feel more confident. When you feel anxious, you transmit that anxiety too. Others high-influence individuals understand this principle and deliberately cultivate emotional states that serve their goals and benefit others. They don't just manage their emotions for personal reasons. They manage them as a form of leadership and service to others before important social interactions. Consciously generate the emotional state you want others to experience. You want them to feel confident about a decision. Cultivate genuine confidence in yourself first. If you want them to feel excited about an opportunity, embody that excitement authentically. Your emotional state becomes contagious and influences the entire social dynamic. The third component involves developing superior empathy and perspective-taking abilities. Empathy is not just about being nice. It's a crucial cognitive skill that allows you to understand others' motivations, predict their responses, and influence their decisions more effectively. Your brain's empathy networks can be strengthened through deliberate practice. Regularly engage in perspective-taking exercises where you consciously try to understand situations from others' viewpoints. When someone disagrees with you, instead of immediately defending your position first, try to understand why their perspective makes sense from their frame of reference. This doesn't mean agreeing with everyone or abandoning your own views. It means developing the cognitive flexibility to understand multiple perspectives simultaneously, which makes you far more effective at communication, negotiation, and leadership. The fourth component is presence and charisma development. Charisma is often thought of as an innate quality, but neuroscience reveals it's actually a set of learnable behaviors that create specific responses in others' brains. Charismatic individuals generate neural responses in others that are associated with attention, admiration, and desire to follow. Key charismatic behaviors include maintaining strong eye contact, which activates mirror neuron systems and creates feelings of connection, speaking with vocal variety and appropriate volume, which keeps others' attention engaged, using purposeful gestures that reinforce your message. Maintaining open, confident posture that signals competence and trustworthiness, and demonstrating authentic passion for your message or mission. Practice these behaviors until they become natural rather than forced. The goal is not to manipulate others, but to remove barriers that prevent your authentic value from being perceived. Clearly, the fifth component involves developing social proof and status optimization. Your brain is constantly evaluating your social status relative to others, and these evaluations influence your confidence, risks-taking, and performance. More importantly, others are unconsciously evaluating your status and using those evaluations to determine how much influence to grant you. Status in the modern world is not just about formal titles or wealth. It's about perceived competence, value creation, and social contribution. You can enhance your social status by systematically building expertise, contributing value to others, associating with other high-status individuals, and consistently demonstrating leadership qualities. This is not about ego or superiority over others. High-status individuals in healthy social systems use their influence to benefit others and create positive outcomes. The goal is to develop the kind of genuine status that comes from competence and contribution rather than artificial status based on manipulation or domination. The sixth component is conflict resolution and difficult conversation navigation. Your ability to handle social conflicts effectively has enormous impact on your success because most opportunities require collaboration with others. And collaboration inevitably involves disagreements and challenging conversations. Train your brain to see conflicts as problem-solving opportunities rather than threats to avoid. When disagreements arise, focus on understanding all perspectives before advocating for your own position. Look for win-win solutions that address everyone's core needs rather than zero-sum outcomes where someone must lose. Develop the emotional regulation skills needed to remain calm and constructive even when others become emotional or hostile. This allows you to de-escalate tensions and guide conversations toward productive resolutions rather than getting caught up in emotional reactivity. The seventh component involves network building and relationship maintenance. Success in most fields depends heavily on relationships. Who you know, who trusts you, who is willing to collaborate with you, and who will refer opportunities to you. Yet, most people are poor at systematically building and maintaining professional and personal networks. Approach relationship building as a learnable skill rather than hoping it will happen naturally. This means regularly reaching out to existing contacts, meeting new people in your field, providing value to others before asking for anything, and maintaining relationships even when you don't immediately need anything from those people. The most effective networkers focus on giving value first, sharing useful information, making helpful introductions, or supporting others' goals without expecting immediate reciprocation. This creates positive neural associations in others' minds and builds the foundation for mutually beneficial long-term relationships. Social brain optimization is not about becoming someone you're not or manipulating others for selfish gain. It's about removing the barriers that prevent your authentic value from being recognized and developing the social skills that allow you to create more positive outcomes for yourself and others. When you optimize your social brain, you become more influential not through force or manipulation, but through genuine competence, authentic connection, and superior ability to understand and respond to others' needs. This creates the kind of social success that enhances every other area of your life. Chapter 12. Accelerated Learning Rewiring for Rapid Skill Acquisition. In today's rapidly evolving world, your ability to learn new skills quickly has become one of the most valuable capabilities you can possess. Traditional approaches to learning are too slow and inefficient for the modern pace of change. By understanding and applying the neuroscience of accelerated learning, you can dramatically reduce the time required to master new skills while increasing retention and transfer to real-world application. The key insight from neuroscience research is that learning is not a passive process of information absorption but an active process of neural network construction. Every skill you develop requires your brain to build specific neural pathways through deliberate practice and strategic conditioning. Understanding how to optimize this process allows you to learn exponentially faster than conventional methods. The first principle of accelerated learning is specificity of neural pathway development. Your brain doesn't learn general skills. It builds very specific neural networks for particular applications. This means that effective learning requires clearly defining exactly what neural pathways you want to build rather than engaging in vague skill development. Instead of trying to improve communication skills, you might specifically target delivering compelling presentations under pressure or having difficult conversations with confidence. This specificity allows your brain to build precise neural neural networks rather than scattered weak connections that don't transfer to real-world situations. Define your learning objectives in terms of specific behaviors and capabilities you want to develop. What exactly do you want to be able to do that you cannot do now? What specific situations do you want to handle more effectively? This clarity directs your brain's learning machinery toward building the right neural pathways. The second principle is progressive overload in cognitive training. Just as physical muscles grow stronger when challenged with progressively heavier weights, neural networks develop more rapidly when challenged with progressively more difficult tasks. Most people plateau in their learning because they practice at the same level repeatedly rather than continuously increasing the challenge. Design your learning progression to consistently push beyond your current comfort zone. If you're learning a language, don't just practice vocabulary you already know. Constantly add new words and more complex sentence structures. If you're developing leadership skills, don't just practice in safe situations. Seek opportunities to lead in increasingly challenging circumstances. The key is to find the optimal difficulty level. Challenging enough to stimulate neural growth but not so difficult that you become overwhelmed or discouraged. This sweet spot maximizes the rate of neural pathway development while maintaining motivation and progress momentum. The third principle involves leveraging spaced repetition and interval for optimal retention. Your brain consolidates learning most effectively when information and skills are revisited at increasing intervals rather than masked into single sessions. This process, called spaced repetition, strengthens neural pathways more efficiently than cramming or intensive practice sessions. Additionally, intermixing different but related skills or concepts within practice sessions enhances learning transfer and prevents your brain from becoming too specialized in narrow contexts. Instead of practicing one skill for hours, alternate between related skills to build more robust and flexible neural networks. For example, if you're developing sales skills, you might alternate between prospecting techniques, presentation skills, and objection handling within single practice sessions rather than focusing on one area exclusively. The fourth principle is multimodal coding, engaging multiple sensory and cognitive systems simultaneously to create stronger, more accessible neural pathways. Most people learn through single modalities, reading, listening, or practicing. But the brain learns much faster when multiple systems are activated together. Combine visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and emotional learning whenever possible. If you're learning business strategy, don't just read about it. Visualize implementing strategies. Discuss concepts with others. Practice applying principles to real situations. And connect emotionally with successful outcomes. This multimodal approach creates multiple neural pathways to the same information, making it more accessible under different circumstances and increasing the likelihood of successful transfer to real-world applications. The fifth principle involves deliberate practice with immediate feedback loops. Random practice or repetition without feedback builds neural pathways slowly and often incorrectly. Accelerated learning requires deliberate practice. Focused effort on specific weaknesses with immediate feedback about performance quality. This means identifying the precise aspects of a skill where you're weakest and practicing those elements intensively with mechanisms for immediate performance feedback. If you're developing presentation skills, record yourself speaking and analyze specific areas for improvement. Rather than just giving presentations and hoping you're getting better, seek mentors, coaches, or systematic feedback mechanisms that can provide accurate, immediate information about your performance quality. The faster the feedback loop, the more rapidly your brain can adjust and optimize its neural pathways. The sixth principle is leveraging neuroplasticity enhancers activities and conditions that increase your brain's capacity for neural rewiring. Physical exercise, particularly cardiovascular activity, increases BDNF production and enhances neuroplasticity. Quality sleep is essential for memory consolidation and neuropathway strengthening. Meditation improves attention and reduces cognitive interference. Structure your learning schedule to include these neuroplasticity enhancers rather than treating them as separate activities. Exercise before learning sessions to prime your brain for neural growth. Ensure adequate sleep after learning to allow consolidation. Use meditation to improve focus during practice sessions. The seventh principle involves emotional engagement and meaning-making. Your brain prioritizes learning that has emotional significance and clear relevance to your goals. Abstract or emotionally neutral learning is processed more slowly and retained less effectively than learning connected to strong emotions and clear purpose. Connect every skill you're developing to compelling personal outcomes. How will mastering this skill transforms your life, career, or relationships? What exciting possibilities will become available once you've developed this capability? The stronger the emotional connection, the more resources your brain allocates to neural pathway development, mental rehearsal, and visualization. Accelerate skill development by allowing your brain to practice neural patterns without physical execution. Athletes have used this technique for decades, and brain imaging shows that mental practice activates the same neural networks as physical practice. Spend time visualizing yourself, executing skills with perfect technique, and achieving desired outcomes. This mental practice builds neural pathways that support physical execution while also programming confidence and motivation patterns that enhance real-world performance. The eighth principle is learning transfer optimization. Ensuring that skills developed in practice situations transfer effectively to real-world applications. Many people can demonstrate skills in controlled learning environments but struggle to apply them under pressure or in different contexts. Practice skills in varied contexts that match real-world conditions as closely as possible. If you're developing negotiation skills, practice in different settings with different types of people rather than just role-playing with the same partner repeatedly. This builds neural flexibility that supports transfer across multiple contexts. The final principle is metacognitive development. Learning how to learn more effectively by understanding your own learning processes. The most effective learners are not necessarily the most intelligent. They are those who understand how their brains learn best and continuously optimize their learning strategies. Regularly evaluate your learning effectiveness. What methods work best for you? What conditions optimize your learning speed? What obstacles consistently interfere with your progress? This self-awareness allows you to continuously refine your approach and learn more efficiently over time. Accelerate it. Learning is not about working harder. It's about working in alignment with how your brain naturally builds new capabilities. When you apply these neuroscience-based principles systematically, you can develop new skills in weeks or months that might otherwise take years to master. Chapter 13. Wealth Consciousness Rewiring Your Money Brain. Your relationship with money is not based on rational economic analysis. It's controlled by deep neural programming that was largely installed before you had any real experience with wealth creation. This programming determines not only how you think and feel about money, but also the financial behaviors that ultimately create your economic reality. Neuroscience research reveals that people have distinct neural patterns when processing financial information, making money-related decisions and thinking about wealth. These patterns are so consistent that researchers can predict financial behaviors by observing brain activity. More importantly, these neural patterns can be systematically rewired to support wealth creation rather than financial struggle. The first component of wealth consciousness is understanding your inherited money programming. Most people's financial neural networks were shaped by their family's relationship with money, cultural beliefs about wealth, and early experiences with financial stress or abundance. These early impressions created neural pathways that continue influencing financial decisions. Decades later, if you grew up hearing that money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, or we can't afford that, your brain installed neural programs that associate money with scarcity, difficulty, and moral complexity. Conversely, if you were raised in an environment where wealth was normal and positive, your brain developed different associations that support financial success. 2. Identify your money programming. Pay attention to your automatic thoughts and emotional responses around financial topics. What happens in your brain when you think about earning more money? Do you feel excited and motivated, or anxious and overwhelmed? When you consider investing or starting a business, does your mind immediately explore possibilities or list reasons why it won't work? Notice the stories you tell yourself about wealthy people. Do you see them as evil and greedy, or as valuable contributors who deserve their success? Your brain's assessment of wealthy people directly influences whether it will allow you to become wealthy yourself. If your neuroprogramming views wealth as morally questionable, your subconscious will sabotage your financial progress to maintain consistency with your beliefs. The second component involves rewiring scarcity programming for abundance thinking. Scarcity programming causes your brain to perceive money as a limited resource that must be hoarded, fought over, and carefully protected. This creates neural patterns of fear, competition, and limitation that block wealth creation opportunities. Abundance programming, however, trains your brain to see money as energy that flows freely and can be created through value provision. When you have abundance programming, you look for ways to create value rather than ways to hoard resources. You see opportunities where others see obstacles, and you're willing to invest and take calculated risks because you believe in your ability to generate wealth. Start rewiring scarcity programming by consciously looking for evidence of abundance in your environment. Notice how much wealth surrounds you. The infrastructure, technology, businesses, and opportunities that exist in modern society. Recognize that most of this wealth was created by people who were not born wealthy, but who developed the skills and mindset necessary for wealth creation. Practice abundance thinking by regularly asking yourself, how can I create more value? What problems can I solve for others? How can I improve or innovate in my field? These questions train your brain to think like a wealth creator rather than a wealth consumer. The third component is developing what researchers call delayed gratification programming, the neural ability to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term financial benefits. Studies like the famous Stanford marshmallow experiment have shown that the ability to delay gratification is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success, including financial success. Most people's brains are wired for immediate gratification because that programming served survival purposes in earlier environments. However, wealth creation requires the ability to invest time, energy, and resources now for benefits that may not materialize for months or years. Train delayed gratification by regularly choosing long-term benefits over short-term pleasures. This might mean investing money instead of spending it on consumer goods, studying instead of watching entertainment, or building a business instead of taking a higher-paying job. Each time you choose delayed gratification, you strengthen the neural pathways that support wealth creation. The fourth component involves reprogramming your relationship with risk and uncertainty. Wealth creation inherently involves risk. Starting businesses, making investments, changing careers, or developing new skills all involve uncertainty about outcomes. If your brain is programmed to avoid risk at all costs, you'll unconsciously avoid the activities that create wealth. Successful wealth creators don't eliminate risk. They become skilled at evaluating and managing risk. They understand that avoiding all risk is actually the greatest risk because it guarantees mediocrity. Their brains are programmed to see calculated risks as opportunities rather than threats. Gradually expose yourself to increasing levels of financial risk while building your risk assessment and management skills. Start with small investments or side projects where failure won't devastate you financially. But success could provide meaningful returns. As you develop competence and confidence, you can take on larger opportunities. The key is to distinguish between intelligent risk-taking and reckless gambling. Intelligent risk involves thorough analysis, preparation for multiple outcomes, and positioned where the potential upside significantly outweighs the potential downside. The fifth component is developing value creation programming. The most fundamental truth about wealth creation is that money flows to those who create the most value for others. Your brain needs to be programmed to constantly look for ways to increase the value you provide rather than just trying to get more money for the same effort. This requires shifting from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset regardless of whether you're actually self-employed. Employee mindset focuses on trading time for money and getting by with minimum effort. Entrepreneur mindset focuses on creating maximum value and finding ways to generate results that exceed expectations. Train your brain to think like a value creator by regularly asking, how can I solve bigger problems? What skills would make me more valuable? How can I help others achieve their goals? What innovations or improvements can I contribute? These questions program your brain to focus on value creation, which naturally leads to increased compensation. The sixth component involves installing abundance and prosperity visualization programming. Your brain uses visualization to plan and prepare for future scenarios. If you never visualize yourself as wealthy, your brain has no neural blueprint for creating that reality. Most people can easily visualize problems and challenges but struggle to create clear, compelling visions of financial success. Spend time regularly visualizing yourself living with financial abundance. See yourself making investment decisions, managing multiple income streams, living in your ideal environment, and having the freedom that comes with financial independence. Make these visualizations as detailed and emotionally engaging as possible. The key is to visualize not just the end result, but the person you would need to become to create that result. How would a wealthy version of yourself think, make decisions, spend time, and interact with others? Begin embodying those characteristics now rather than waiting until you achieve financial success. The seventh component is social programming and environmental design. Your brain is heavily influenced by the people you spend time with and the environments you frequent. If you're surrounded by people who struggle financially and complain about money, your brain will adapt to that reality as normal. Conversely, if you spend time with people who are financially successful and think abundantly about money, your brain will begin adopting similar neural patterns through social mirroring and environmental conditioning. Seek out financially successful people. Read books by wealthy individuals. Listen to content about wealth creation and put yourself in environments where abundance is normal rather than exceptional. This doesn't mean abandoning old friends, but it does mean consciously expanding your social circle to include people who model the financial success you want to create. The eighth component involves developing financial education and competency programming. Confidence comes from competence, and you can't feel truly confident about wealth creation if you don't understand how money actually works. Many people avoid financial education because it seems complicated or boring. But this avoidance keeps them trapped in financial limitation. Invest time in learning about investing, business creation, tax strategies, and wealth management. The more you understand about money and wealth creation, the more confident and comfortable your brain becomes with financial topics. This confidence translates into better financial decisions and increased willingness to pursue wealth-building opportunities. Start with basic concepts and gradually build your financial knowledge over time. Read books, take courses, attend seminars, and seek mentorship from people who have achieved the kind of financial success you desire. The final component is gratitude and appreciation programming. Paradoxically, the fastest way to create more wealth is to genuinely appreciate what you already have. Gratitude programming trains your brain to recognize abundance rather than focusing on lack, which creates a positive emotional state that attracts more opportunities. Practice daily gratitude for your current financial situation, regardless of how limited it might seem. Appreciate your ability to earn money. The opportunities available to you and the wealth that already exists in your life in forms other than cash. This doesn't mean being satisfied with limitation, but rather approaching wealth creation from a position of abundance and appreciation rather than desperation and fear. When your brain feels abundant and grateful, it makes better decisions and recognizes more opportunities than when it feels desperate and fearful. Wealth consciousness is not about becoming obsessed with money. It's about developing the neural programming that allows money to flow naturally as a result of value creation, intelligent decision and abundant thinking. When you rewire your money brain systematically, financial success becomes a natural expression of your programming rather than a constant struggle against limiting beliefs. Chapter 14. Peak Performance States: Engineering Flow and Excellence. Peak performance is not a random occurrence or a gift reserved for elite athletes and exceptional individuals. It's a specific neurological state that can be systematically accessed and optimized. When you understand the neuroscience behind peak performance states, you can engineer these conditions deliberately rather than hoping they'll occur spontaneously. Research has identified the key neural signatures of peak performance across various domains. During optimal performance, the brain shows increased activity in task-relevant networks while suppressing activity in areas associated with self-doubt, distraction, and overthinking. This creates a state of effortless concentration where actions flow naturally and performance exceeds normal capabilities, the first component of peak performance. Engineering is understanding flow states, periods of optimal experience where you become completely absorbed in challenging activities that match your skill level. During flow, your brain releases a cocktail of performance-enhancing neurochemicals, including norepinephrine focus, dopamine reward, and motivation, anandamide lateral thinking, and endorphins pleasure and pain relief. Flow states have specific triggers that can be activated deliberately. Challenge skill balance is the most fundamental trigger. You need tasks that are difficult enough to demand your full attention, but not so difficult that they create anxiety. Boredom kills flow just as effectively as overwhelm. So you must continuously calibrate difficulty levels to maintain optimal challenge. Clear goals and immediate feedback are essential flow triggers because they give your brain clear targets to focus on and continuous information about performance quality. Vague objectives and delayed feedback prevents its flow states because your brain doesn't have enough information to optimize its performance in real time. Complete concentration on the present moment is another flow trigger. When your attention is scattered across multiple concerns or time periods, you cannot access flow states. Peak performance requires training your brain to focus entirely on the task at hand, letting go of past concerns and future worries. The second component involves optimizing your neurochemical environment for peak performance. Your brain's performance capacity is heavily influenced by the balance of neurotransmitters and hormones circulating through your system. By understanding and optimizing these chemical environments, you can significantly enhance your peak performance. Potential dopamine levels affect motivation, focus, and reward processing. Low dopamine creates procrastination and lack of drive. While optimal dopamine levels generate enthusiasm and sustained effort, you can naturally increase dopamine through completing challenging tasks, celebrating small wins, listening to music you enjoy, and anticipating rewarding outcomes. Norepinephrine functions as the brain's alertness chemical, enhancing focus and attention while suppressing irrelevant neural activity. Moderate levels of norepinephrine are optimal for peak performance. Too little creates sluggishness while too much creates anxiety. Cold exposure, intense exercise, and challenging mental tasks can optimize norepinephrine levels naturally. GABA serves as the brain's calming neurotransmitter, reducing anxiety and mental noise that interfere with peak performance. Meditation, deep breathing, yoga, and progressive muscle relaxation all increase GABA production, creating the calm alertness characteristic of flow states. The third component is attention training for sustained peak performance. Most people's attention is scattered and reactive, jumping between tasks and concerns without conscious direction. Peak performance requires laser-focused attention that can be sustained for extended periods without fatigue or distraction. Single-pointing attention involves training your brain to focus completely on one target at a time. This could be a physical object, a mental concept, a bodily sensation, or a performance task. The key is developing the ability to return your attention to your chosen target immediately whenever you notice it has wandered. Meta-attention involves becoming aware of your attention itself. Noticing when you're focused, when you're distracted, and what factors influence your attentional states. This awareness allows you to consciously optimize your attention for peak performance rather than leaving it to random chance. Attention cycling involves alternating between periods of intense focus and brief recovery periods. Your brain cannot maintain peak attention indefinitely. So optimal performance requires understanding your natural attention rhythms and structuring activities accordingly. Asterisk. The fourth component involves physiology optimization for peak neural performance. Your brain is not separate from your body. Its performance capacity is directly influenced by your physical state, energy levels, and biochemical environment. Sleep optimization is crucial because your brain consolidates learning, clears metabolic waste, and restores neurotransmitter levels during quality sleep. Peak performers prioritize sleep consistency, duration, and quality rather than trying to function on minimal rest. Nutrition, timing, and composition significantly affect cognitive performance. Your brain requires steady glucose levels for optimal function, but blood sugar spikes and crashes create performance variability. Strategic nutrition timing around peak performance periods can enhance mental clarity and sustained energy. Hydration levels directly impact cognitive function, with even mild dehydration reducing mental performance. Peak performers maintain optimal hydration levels rather than waiting until they feel thirsty. Movement and exercise prime your brain for peak performance by increasing BDNF production, improving blood flow, and optimizing neurotransmitter levels. Strategic movement before peak performance periods can significantly enhance cognitive capacity. The fifth component is environmental design for peak performance. Your external environment heavily influences your internal states, and peak performers systematically optimize their surroundings to support optimal performance. Minimizing distractions involves creating environments where irrelevant stimuli cannot capture your attention. This includes visual distractions, auditory interruptions, and digital notifications that fragment your focus. Optimizing sensory inputs means consciously designing the lighting, temperature, sound, and other environmental factors that influence your performance capacity. Small environmental changes can have dramatic impacts on your ability to access and maintain peak states. Creating performance rituals and environmental cues that consistently trigger peak states allows you to access optimal performance more reliably. These might include specific locations, music, lighting, or pre-performance routines that signal to your brain that it's time for peak performance. The sixth component involves developing performance, identity, and self-concept programming. Peak performers don't just perform well occasionally. They identify as high performers at a fundamental level. This identity programming affects every aspect of their preparation, execution, and recovery processes. Embody the identity of someone who consistently performs at peak levels. How would such a person prepare for important tasks? How would they handle setbacks or suboptimal performances? How would they maintain their performance standards over time? Begin embodying these characteristics now, rather than waiting until you achieve peak performance consistently. The seventh component is recovery and regeneration optimization. Peak performance is not sustainable without adequate recovery periods that allow your brain to restore its resources and consolidate learning. Many people try to maintain peak intensity constantly, which leads to burnout and diminished performance capacity. Active recovery involves engaging in activities that restore your mental and physical resources without complete inactivity. This might include light exercise, meditation, creative pursuits, or a social connection that replenishes your energy rather than draining it. Passive recovery involves periods of minimal stimulation that allow your brain to process experiences and restore neurotransmitter levels. This includes quality sleep, relaxation, and unstimulated downtime that many people avoid but which is essential for sustained peak performance. The final component involves continuous performance optimization through systematic analysis and refinement. Peak performers don't just hope for great performances. They study their peak states systematically to understand what conditions and practices produce optimal results. Keep detailed records of your peak performance experiences, noting the conditions, preparation, mindset, and environmental factors that contributed to exceptional results. Look for patterns that can be replicated and refined over time. Experiment with different approaches to peak performance, preparation, and execution. Treating each important task as an opportunity to test and refine your performance protocols. When you engineer peak performance states systematically rather than leaving them to chance, you can access exceptional performance capacity on demand rather than waiting for inspiration or perfect conditions. This transforms peak performance from a rare occurrence into a trainable skill that serves you in every area of life. Chapter 15. The Future You: Sustaining Transformation and Continuous Growth. The ultimate test of neural rewiring is not whether you can create temporary changes in your thinking and behavior, but whether you can sustain transformation over time and continue growing throughout your life. Many people experience initial success with brain rewiring techniques only to revert to old patterns when faced with stress, setbacks, or the simple passage of time. Creating lasting transformation requires understanding how to make new neural programming resilient, self-reinforcing, and continuously evolving. This involves developing what neuroscientists call neuroplastic maintenance, systematic practices that keep your brain optimized for growth and prevent regression to limiting patterns. The first principle of sustained transformation is identity integration, making your new neural programming so central to your sense of self that reverting to old patterns feels foreign and uncomfortable. Most behavior change fails because people try to modify actions without changing their underlying identity. They attempt to act like successful people while still seeing themselves as struggling individuals. True transformation occurs when your new neural patterns become integrated into your core identity. Instead of trying to act confident, you become a confident person. Instead of trying to make money, you become someone who naturally creates wealth. Instead of trying to be successful, you embody the identity of a successful individual. This integration process requires consistent reinforcement of your new identity through thoughts, emotions, and actions. Every day you must make choices that align with your transformed identity rather than your old self-concept. Over time, these consistent choices strengthen the neural pathways associated with your new identity until they become your default mode of operation. The second principle involves creating self-reinforcing feedback loops that maintain your progress automatically. The most sustainable transformations are those that create their own momentum through positive feedback cycles. As you implement new neural programming, you get better results. Better results reinforce your new beliefs and behaviors. Stronger beliefs and behaviors lead to even better results. Design your life to create these positive feedback loops deliberately. If you're rewiring for confidence, put yourself in situations where you can experience success and positive feedback. If you're developing wealth consciousness, engage in activities that generate financial results. If you're building peak performance capabilities, undertake challenges that allow you to experience flow states and exceptional results. The key is to stack successes systematically rather than leaving positive experiences to chance. Each success becomes evidence that supports your new neural programming, making it stronger and more resistant to old limiting patterns. The third principle is environmental reinforcement, designing your surroundings to continuously support your new neural programming rather than undermining it. Your environment provides constant input to your subconscious mind, either reinforcing transformation or pulling you back toward old patterns. Audit your environment systematically. What messages does your physical space send about your identity and capabilities? What kinds of information do you consume regularly through media, books, and conversations? Who do you spend time with? And do they support your growth or reinforce limitation? Make deliberate changes to align your environment with your new programming. Surround yourself with visual reminders of your goals and new identity. Consume content that reinforces empowering beliefs and successful mindsets. Spend time with people who see you as capable and support your growth rather than those who expect you to remain the same. The fourth principle involves developing anti-fragility, the ability to become stronger from stressors rather than just surviving them. Life will inevitably present challenges that test your new neural programming. Many people lose their progress during difficult periods because they haven't trained their transformed mindsets to handle adversity. Build challenges and stressors deliberately into your growth process rather than avoiding them. Practice your new neural patterns under pressure during setbacks and in difficult circumstances. This creates robust programming that maintains itself even when conditions are not ideal. Develop systematic protocols for handling setbacks without losing your progress. You encounter obstacles or failures. Have predetermined responses that reinforce your new identity rather than triggering regression to old patterns. This might include reframing techniques, identity reinforcement practices, or support systems that help you maintain your transformation during difficult periods. The fifth principle is continuous learning and adaptation. Your brain is designed to keep growing throughout your life, but only if you continue challenging it with new learning experiences. Many people plateau in their personal development because they stop pushing their boundaries once they achieve a certain level of success. Commit to lifelong learning and continuous improvement rather than treating transformation as a one-time achievement. Always have new skills you're developing, new challenges you're pursuing, and new levels of capability you're working toward. This keeps your brain in growth mode rather than maintenance mode. Stay curious about yourself and your potential. What new capabilities could you develop? What areas of your life could be optimized further? What limiting beliefs might you still be carrying that could be upgraded? This curiosity-driven approach ensures that your transformation continues deepening over time. The sixth principle involves teaching and sharing your transformation with others. One of the most powerful ways to cement new neural programming is to teach it to others. When you articulate your insights, share your strategies and help others implement similar changes, you reinforce your own transformation while creating accountability and purpose. Look for opportunities to mentor others, share your growth experiences or contribute to others' development in ways that align with your own transformation. This creates meaning and social reinforcement for your new programming while helping others achieve similar growth. The seventh principle is systematic tracking and optimization of your transformation process. Peak performers in every field meticulously track their progress and continuously refine their approaches based on results. Apply this same principle to your neural rewiring process. Keep detailed records of your practices, results, and insights. What techniques produce the fastest and most lasting changes? What obstacles consistently interfere with your progress? What environmental factors support or undermine your transformation? This data allows you to continuously optimize your approach rather than hoping for the best. Conduct regular reviews of your transformation progress. Are you maintaining the gains you've made? What areas need additional attention or different approaches? What new levels of growth are now possible? These reviews ensure that your development remains active and intentional rather than stagnating. The eighth principle involves developing a long-term vision that continues pulling you forward. Transformation is easier to sustain when you have compelling future goals that require continued growth. Without evolving challenges and aspirations, you may lose motivation to maintain your new neural programming. Create a vision of who you want to become over the next decade, not just the next year. What capabilities do you want to develop? What contributions do you want to make? What kind of person do you want to be? This long-term vision provides direction for your continued development and prevents complacency. The ninth principle is building resilience into your transformation through redundancy and flexibility. Sustainable change cannot depend on perfect conditions or single strategies. Build multiple pathways to maintain your progress and develop flexibility in how you implement your new programming. Have backup systems for maintaining your transformation. When your primary practices are disrupted by travel, stress, or changing circumstances, develop multiple techniques for accessing each desired mental state rather than depending on single methods. This redundancy ensures that your transformation remains stable even when some elements of your system are temporarily unavailable. The final principle is embracing transformation as a lifelong identity rather than a temporary project. The most successful personal development occurs when growth becomes central to who you are rather than something you do occasionally. When you identify as someone who is continuously growing, learning and evolving, transformation becomes a natural expression of your core identity. This perspective shifts your relationship with personal development from something you have to force yourself to do to something you naturally engage in because it's who you are. Growth becomes as natural as breathing rather than a constant battle against inertia. When you apply these principles systematically, your neural rewiring becomes self-sustaining and continuously evolving. You develop the kind of transformation that lasts decades rather than months, creating a foundation for lifelong success and fulfillment. The future you is not a distant possibility, but an emerging reality that begins with the neural pathways you're building today. Every thought you choose, every belief you reinforce, and every action you take is literally sculpting the brain that will create your future experiences. Take ownership of this incredible power and use it to become the person you were always meant to be. Your transformation starts now and it never ends. Welcome to the new.